Hi everyone, how's everyone all been? It's been a hot minute, hasn't it, since I did a live stream. I have not been feeling well, and then there was the family thing which came up, which I let you guys know of. So yeah, I've been away for a bit, but it's nice to be back with you guys right now. We'll catch up about what's been going on in a second. Let me take a look at everyone who's in the chat. Ethan's Drawing says, nice to see you streaming again. Oh, thanks very much, Ethan's Drawings. I'm very glad to be back. Rohan, hello, Captain Eric. It's been good. That's good. I'm glad things have been good. Wow, I like that you guys like the haircut. Batman's Gamer, great to see you. Jess, Eric, the Ninder, great to see you. Selena, Elite, great to see you too. Charleston, Big Bash, Rohan, glad you all like the haircut. A lot of you, that's surprising. Trevor Bristro, Jake, great to see you again too, buddy, and right at the beginning of the stream too. Yeah, it's interesting about the haircut because when I did my The Boys trailer reaction and I announced it on my community posts, I didn't think that I'm just showing you guys my haircut for the first time, but I was, and you guys were even complimenting it on that post as well. So cool. Let's see. Aurangzeb Khan says, Eric, I just heard about what happened to your family member. I'm so sorry about that, and I hope you're feeling all right. Yeah, I'm feeling better, but yeah, that was very sad when that happened. Yeah, no, that was someone very close to the family passed away. Very, very close. And yeah, that was sad. That was we spent like 4 days, and it happened so sporadically too. So this haircut, I had to get it like quickly. Like an emergency haircut, I described it to my barber, and within the hour, he got it done. Then I had to go somewhere else to get a hair wash, because I have eczema, as you guys know, and it's not fun to be covering yourself with water when you have eczema, so you want to be prepared for a shower or something like that when you've got like a skin thing like I do. You don't want to just spur of the moment go in, then get ready to leave the house. That's the last thing you want to do when normally when you have eczema, your skin needs to have a lot of time to rest after you come out of a shower, but to jump straight out, it doesn't work that way. That would not have been a good thing, let's put it that way. Big Bash says he got his haircut. Excuse me, but that's another thing. Yeah, whenever we go where this family member lives, whenever we have to travel there, me and my family, ever since I was a kid, me and my dad, whenever we would come back home, we would always end up with a cold. So yeah, I told you before, I had the flu, I had COVID, and I had eczema all at once, and then I recovered. Well, a few weeks after, it turns out I got another cold again. So I've been recovering from that over the last few days. So that's why things have been a bit more quiet too. It's like I've just been going through such a, like this, several weeks worth of colds and stuff. It's been really weird, I gotta say. I've never had this much illnesses all in like the span of one time, and then the family member passed away, and we had to go there. So there was a lot of stuff happening basically. So, yeah. Jess says you forgot to make your beard clean shaved. No, I always like having a beard. I don't know if you guys noticed this on the live streams, but I've got a habit of doing this, and you can't do it if you haven't got a beard. So it just helps me think. This usually does. It's just something I like to do. And ever since I was younger, when I was seeing my beard come in, I always liked it. So I shaped it, got it trimmed down so it's not as big as it was before. So yeah, I've done that, and I'm happy with it. This is the look that I usually prefer to get. So let's see. Ethan's Drawing says, I was going to say I like your haircut. Oh, Saeed, King K, it's great to see you guys here. Ranger Goat, the haircut's awesome. King K says, hey Eric, not seen you in a while. Saeed says, hi Carter. Well, hi to all of you. Let's see. It looks like someone has done a super chat. Oh, Batman's Gamer. Right off the bat with a super chat. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Batman's Gamer says, you missed a lot, man. I'm deeply sorry for your loss. Mufasa trailer, Batman Arkham Shadow VR. It's all a mess. Yeah, the Mufasa trailer is one that I was struggling to get on with. And the same with a lot of others as well. Because I had a cold a couple weeks back. But yeah, that's why I thought I would discuss the Mufasa trailer here. But if those of you who are on Patreon still want a Mufasa trailer reaction, I can still do one if you want me to. So let me know and I'll get on that. But yeah, what I've been working on so hard lately is my Avatar The Last Airbender versus video. The video is now like 75% done. I've just got to do the footage for the intro of the video, the footage for the end of the video, you know, the conclusion segment. And then I've also got to do animate all the posters, put the scores in, and then I got to put the music in the background. I got to level that out. I haven't even picked out what music I'm going to use yet. This is the first video, the Avatar The Last Airbender versus video. This is the first versus video that I've done where I shot the whole thing completely out of order. So the reason why is because I had it before I got a cold those weeks ago. I knew one was coming, so I was low on energy. So I thought, you know what? Let's just find the shorter segment and start reading that. So some is done, and I don't have to start with the big story segment at the beginning. So yeah, I was just doing little character segments like the Katara segment and then the Sokka segment, and then I caught a cold. So you might notice those segments, my voice sounds a bit slower or a bit more exhausted. The reason why is because I was catching something, and then I couldn't do the voiceover for like another week or two. And then I started slowly doing others. So yeah, I was editing this completely out of order. And then I had to shuffle all the aspects and put them in the right order. And now I'm going to have to put the music in. So that's where I'm at right now. Thank you very much, Batman's Gamer. It does mean a lot, though. And you guys were very nice about it when I let you guys know that I couldn't do the live stream because of the loss in the family. You guys were really nice about that. So thank you very, very much. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, see, you guys are still being very nice about it. Yeah, it's not completely gone away. I feel like I'm still recovering. I feel like when I came back, like you're just not in the rhythm of the work like I usually am. Even though before that was happening, I was getting back into that rhythm, and then it feels like you just kind of get out of it again after that happened. So yeah, it's a bizarre feeling. Let's see. Thank you, Big Bash. I really appreciate that. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Crazy Cat Lady has given a $5 super chat. Thank you very, very much for that. She says, I hate that rewriting. Rewriting. I hate that rewriting back Mufasa. I hate that they're rewriting Mufasa's backstory. Wasn't going to see it until it comes out on Disney Plus anyway. Yeah, they do seem to be doing that. They do seem to be doing that, don't they? Like they've changed Mufasa's backstory a little bit and said that he's not born with royal blood or something like that, which goes against kind of what he said. It makes the whole Kings of the Past thing that he tells Simba seem less special. But yeah, we'll talk about that later if we will. Big Bash says, will you ever do YouTube reactions or no? I won't. But because that is a specific a Patreon thing, and $1 is really very cheap. Patreon says that you start with $3 if you want to make like a proper, like get a good starting thing on Patreon if you want to do a living. But I've stick with the old ways, which was back in the early days of Patreon, which is $1. So I did that, so it would be a very easy way of anyone becoming a patron. So $1 is super easy to do that, and we've got our own like Discord. In Patreon as well. Patreon have opened up this Discord option. So if you guys all want to chat, you literally can by just doing the $1 donation. So I'd highly recommend that you do that because you get involved in more discussions, which I do want to take more part in soon. Just some of you guys on the Patreon are talking about the Bad Batch, and I've not seen the last like 10, 15 episodes because I waited for them all to come out. Then I thought I'll binge watch them. So I'm like 5 episodes in now, I think. So yeah, I didn't want to look at the chat there on Patreon because I didn't want any spoilers because some people were talking about it. So let's see. But I will consider putting like the odd trailer reaction on YouTube, like maybe just one after a long time. I'll just do one just to give you guys an idea what the trailer reactions look like, and then you can go over to Patreon if you want to watch the others. But yeah, so Big Bash says, I can't wait for the soccer segment. Yeah. The G Gamer, how far in Puss in Boots 1 vs 2? Well, I was doing some of Puss in Boots 1 vs 2, but I realized I'm not getting any videos out this way because I keep splitting my attention on multiple projects. And even you guys were saying, damn, Eric, that's like a lot of projects you're working on. And you guys are right. So I've been changing my tactic recently. I thought, okay, I'll work on one project and I'll be laser focused on that one project and put all of my time into it. and it does seem to be working better, that system. So that's why the Avatar video is getting done quicker than originally intended or expected. So I'm going to do them one at a time and see how that goes. So yeah. Let's see. What do you think of the Deadpool 3 trailer, Saeed? I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as the first one. And I did have... it just wasn't as interesting a trailer to me. I talked more about it in depth in the trailer reaction. Let's see here. Big Bash, the Insomniac versus video is on hold still. Like I said, one video at a time. And I still gotta do the Puss in Boots 1 vs 2 that Gregory has requested and paid for on Patreon. So after this Avatar video, that's gonna be next, Puss in Boots 1 vs 2. And then Adam Grunther, I got a message from Adam Grunther. I don't know if he's in the live stream yet, but he says that he wants to request a versus video as well, a commission versus video on my Patreon. So he's going to request one, and then I'll be working on that as well. So I will be getting to the Spider-Man video, but it will take longer, because it's a video game versus videos, and they take a lot longer. This Avatar versus video was also taking a lot longer, and it's so hard to do, because I just realized I'm doing a versus video between 2 shows. That is usually hard just to do with one show, but with 2 shows, the amount of footage I have to scroll through and I have to look for and find on YouTube and everything is just insane, the amount of work I have to do on that. And that's why I think it's taking a lot longer. So yeah, Big Bash, if I get a bank account, I'll probably do that. Oh, you mean Patreon, Big Bash? You do the gym though, don't you? But anyway, yeah, whatever you do, that'll be helpful. Let's just say if like 1,000 of you did the $1 perk on Patreon, that would be extremely helpful. It would be very, very helpful. That would be in helping making this a career. Yeah, Arturo, on Patreon they have like a Discord Lite, which is a way where all of you can basically chat with each other, and I can jump in as well, or I can ask something in the chat and then you guys can all jump in. So that is something which has basically been introduced to Patreon. Hopefully it'll get better as it goes. It's not going to be anywhere near as in-depth as Discord yet. But yeah, so if you want to be a part of that, literally all you got to do is just sign up for the $1 perk and you'll get access to the trailer reactions and to that. So yeah. Cole says, hey Eric, hope I'm not too late. No, you're not too late. Well, I haven't even started the stories yet. I'm just catching up with you guys before we get into it. Charlton says, I actually just finished the Bad Batch finale earlier today. You'll love it. Well, that's great. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. Jake says, by the way, have you heard of the Paramount buyout? Damn. I have heard of it, but I've not kept up with it. So I've heard there's a new bit of info that just came out. I don't know what that is because I've not read into it. But yeah, I have heard of the buyout. I will say this. I'm glad that Warner Brothers are not buying it out. Because if it was up to David Zaslav at Warner Brothers, I swear, if he got Paramount, what he would have done was done a bunch of tax write-offs. And I really hope they don't shut off or shut down the Avatar projects that are currently in development. Like the Avatar The Last Airbender movies, animated movies that they're going to be doing. And I feel like David Zaslav, there was a strong risk that he could have just said, yeah, I don't care, tax write it off. So yeah, so long as someone else does it, and there's less chance of them doing tax write-offs in this stuff, I'll be fine with that. But yeah. Cosmic Studio has asked something. I could condense it if you don't have much time. Yeah, you could condense it. Yeah, and I'll quickly read it out. Thoughts on Batman Arkham Shadow? It would have been such a cool thing if they actually did, because I think Ratcatcher is supposed to be the villain in that. It would have been so cool if they made an actual video game of that on the PS5 and the Steam Deck and PC, I mean, which then could be playing the Steam Deck and all that. That would have been so cool. But Warner Brothers, as we all know, they just have no clue what the gamers want anymore. So instead, they gave us Gotham Knights, they gave us Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and now they're giving us a VR game with a VR headset that most people don't even own. So yeah. Matthew says, would you ever do a Friday the 13th versus video? Yeah, I would. I don't know if I'll do it anytime soon, though, but yes, I would. I have thought of that before. Cole says, have you thought of doing more live streams? One live stream a week, isn't that already a lot? I don't know. I didn't know that you would want to see me more than once a week on a live stream. I'm flattered if you do, though. Funny says, I'm writing a script while watching this. Cool. That's good. I've done stuff like that myself. I've written some of my scripts when watching live streams and other videos on YouTube. Saeed says, damn, feel so sorry for you. For what? Sorry for me for what? Selena, I don't know if you're just doing this just to troll me, but you said, what if Marvel get the Wachowskis to direct Avengers 5 and 6? Heck no. Big Bash says, why do you hate your dad? Why do you hate your dad? Oh, you're talking about Eric, I'm better. I thought you were saying to me that you're better than my dad or something. Let's see. Miles says, hi Eric, sorry if I'm late. Sorry for your loss. I'm almost finished with high school. It's kind of been crazy. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I can imagine high school, all that. Okay, that's good. I'm doing better. Thank you very much. Let's see. Jess, Eric, stick with the upcoming Insomniac games and ignore the new Rocksteady games. Yes, don't you worry. I really am. Although the way Insomniac seem to be going, I feel like we all have to keep an eye on them because I think they might go off the deep end as well. Smoothie King says, excuse me. Hey Eric, nice to see you're doing better. Saw Abigail last weekend. I rate it a high 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. I thought it was really good. The Abigail actor was really good. Also, are you hyped for the Fall Guy? Yeah, she was very good, like really good in that movie. And I think that film is coming out on PVOD in 2 days now. That's why I wanted to watch it early, so you get that feeling that at least you saw the movie early. Because if you see it closer to the time, the movie will then already be out just around the corner. So I tried to get in there like very early to watch that film. But yeah, it was a fun film. I think it could have been better. I think the ending felt very quick. One character has a turn that came out of nowhere. But yeah, the film itself was still fun. I was glad I saw it. Let's see. And also, am I hyped for the Fall Guy? I'm not hyped for it, no. I'm just not hyped for it personally. It could be fun, so I might give it a watch, but it's not something I'm in a rush to watch. Plus, it's from Universal, so in 2.5 weeks, it'll be available for PVOD on digital. And yeah, you can watch it at home, so yeah. If I want to watch it. I won't even watch it straight away either, because I've got other stuff to watch. Still Bad Batch, for example. Let's see. Ramouse says, are you okay, Eric? You look tired, stressed, and ill. Well, tired is because of my eczema. It puts these bags into my eyes, so probably that's why. Stressed? I don't know. I have been feeling a little bit more stressed lately, but that's because I've not been getting as much work done. But that's really because of because I was having these illnesses and these colds lately. Just the common cold, nothing bad. Well, having COVID about a month ago, that was bad. That wasn't fun. That was 2 weeks I was bedridden. That wasn't fun. And I had the flu on top of that at the same time, and my eczema kicked in at the same time, which I'm still recovering from. So, yeah, I'm right now I'm in a recovery phase, basically, and I can feel the cuts on my fingers when I even do stuff like this. So yeah, I am in constant pain, basically, but I've grown up having eczema like this, so it's something that it's in the back of your mind, not in the front of your mind like it was when this was new. So that's basically what it is. Okay, so, let's see. Adam Grunther, $2 super chat, and I'm so glad to see you on the live stream, buddy. I actually was talking about you earlier. I made mention on my Patreon, but they were asking what videos was I going to do, and I says I'm working on... I said I was working on the Avatar The Last Airbender versus video, then I said I'm working on that one, just like putting all my attention on that, rather than working on multiple projects at a time. I thought this way I could be, if I'm laser focused on one, I might get them out quicker. So I'm giving that a go. So I said I was working on the Avatar The Last Airbender versus video. Then after that, I said I'm going to work in the Puss in Boots video, which was recommended by a patron, Gregory, who asked for it to be, who asked me to make it on Patreon. So then I mentioned that you also are thinking about doing one as well, so that'll be something I'll be doing as well afterwards. So I've already made mention of that, and I look forward to doing whatever. By the way, I did get your Patreon message, Adam Grantha. I have gotten it. I haven't responded to it yet because I've been so busy working on the Versus video and then prepping everything for this live stream, which takes a lot of time. So I want to give you a proper response, not just a quick fob job response, if you know what I mean. So that's why I've not responded to your message yet. So I thought I'd just let you know about that. But anyway, in answer to your super chat question, thoughts on Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire? Well, I am writing a mini Versus video. That doesn't mean the video will be made, but I am writing a mini Versus video between that and Godzilla vs. Kong. But to put it briefly, I did have fun with it. I'll put it that way. And then you have to wait for further details on that potential Versus video that I do. But like I said, I'm doing it one at a time right now, so let's get on with the Avatar Versus video. Then after that, we'll see what happens. Trevor Bistro says, what if Denis Villeneuve directed Avengers 5 and 6? That would be interesting, but with the characters we got, I don't think so. I just don't like the MCU characters that we have. They just seem quite boring. Big Bash says, X-Men must not be fun. How is it like living with it? Well, I've been living with it since I was 16, where it just full on like came all over my body. It's not fun. It's like it's like your skin is being pushed back as you're trying to move forward, so it feels like you're not allowed to stretch the skin around your face. It feels like it's very tight. So it feels like, you know, it kind of feels like your skin is being pulled backwards as you're trying to move forwards, if that makes any sense. And the skin on your hands is very tight. So if you go like this, that's the extent of how much movement your finger can do. And if you do any more, it's like pulling on leather or something. You'll just rip something. That's worst case scenario. Other times it's like just inconveniences, like itches and stuff like that. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, don't worry about that, Adam. I'll message you about that later. I was gonna say Suicide Squad and the Suicide Squad at first, but then I was thinking, I've talked about the first Suicide Squad so many times. Have I done 2 Versus videos of it at this point? Have I? I think I have. So I was thinking I could do the Suicide Squad, the first one, versus, say, Suicide Squad Assault on Arkham. Or was it Batman Assault on Arkham? Or you can do the Suicide Squad versus Assault on Arkham, whatever it is, you know what I mean. But yeah, I was thinking there's a variation there. But yeah, your choice at the end of the day. You're the one that's doing the commission, so whatever you want to do. But I'll message you later, so don't worry. Let's see. Fireboy says, hey Eric, thoughts on Chris Hemsworth blaming himself for Thor Love and Thunder? Don't worry, we're going to talk about that right now. So, we're going to get ready to move on to the story, but before we do, move on to the story, I'm just going to let you guys know, as always, when I'm talking about the story itself here, or these upcoming stories, I'm not going to be able to answer any of your questions in the chat. The only time I will is if you put in a super chat or a Streamlabs chat with the link I've pinned in the chat section. If you do that, I'll answer your question immediately, even if I'm telling the story. But anyone else who's just messaging on the chat, I won't be able to answer your question. I'll glance at it to see if there's a quick comment that I should reference, but I won't be able to answer your questions whilst I'm telling these stories. So, like I said, if you want those answers, you're going to have to do a super chat or a Streamlabs chat, and I'll answer your questions immediately. So, this is the best way for me to do it, so I stay on point with the stories that I'm covering. So, look at that, I'm just about to go on to the next thing, but I guess before I do, Jake has come into the chat, and he's at it again with his very generous super chats. So thank you, Jake. That's $28 super chat. Oh boy, I always love seeing the support from you guys. So thank you very much, and thank you, Jake. You've never faltered with your support. You've always been doing it. So thank you. Jake says, did you hear about Velma Season 3? Why? Yeah, I have heard. I've heard about Velma Season 2. I didn't know there's a Velma Season 3 that they're doing. But I haven't checked. Is Velma Season 2 worse than the first season? Or is it just as bad? Or did they actually try to rectify stuff? I have no idea. I would like to know about that one. Jake says, I haven't met anyone who likes it. Yeah, that's the funny thing. I've not met anyone who likes it either. The only people that defended it at the time were these crazy extreme, like, political types. And that's only because, I swear, there's like a section of the internet, whether it's left-leaning or right-leaning, that just like it when people are unhappy. So, I feel like that's what was going on with the people that were supporting Velma, but I doubt they even watched it. So it was such a weird thing, and I don't even hear any compliments from that show from people. It's so weird. Does Warner Brothers want us to hate them? I don't think they care. They just want to see so long as they get the viewership and the subscribers coming in. That's how they're thinking. At least that's how David Zaslav is thinking. By the way, you know what's funny? Definitely not Amy Schumer. That's true. The fact that she's in If makes me lose interest in it. Yeah, I was like, why did they put her in it? I thought John Krasinski put a couple actors in there where I was like, why'd you put them in? Like, Keegan-Michael Key. Was he in that movie too? He's gonna play the exact same role he always plays. So yeah, it is a weird cast he's put in there, I do have to say. Jake, I love what you do with your super chats. You get everyone in the comment section talking about it whenever you've done it. Review says, here comes Jake. Jake is at it again, boys. So yeah, the Logman says, hey Eric, I researched Star Wars Episode 1 for its 25th anniversary. Not in the theatre, but on DVD. It actually is in the theatre, in my local theatre. And my brother actually went to go see it on the biggest screen yesterday. It was an IMAX, but it's that theatre's biggest screen. And was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday, yeah. And he said he had a fun time watching it. I was almost going to go in there watch it with him, but it didn't end up happening. And I was kind of glad because I still got to watch Bad Batch, and there's Tales of the Empire out now, which I'm so looking forward to seeing. So I've got plenty of Star Wars stuff to watch. It would make no sense to go back and rewatch the first Star Wars again, especially because we've already got it at home, so yeah. Let's see. Yes, Josh, man, I will watch the animated Lord of the Rings movie, but I need to see a trailer first to see exactly what we're getting. Jake, again, I'm scrolling through, and I can see people commenting about about your super chat. So again, thank you very much, Jake. Jake says she doesn't deserve to be famous. She deserves to work at McDonald's for the rest of her career. Yeah, I can't disagree, to be honest. And even though that's not the kind of thing I would say, I can't disagree. Let's see. Okay, who's ready for the story now? We're going to be talking about Chris Hemsworth and what he thought about his performance. In Thor 4. Movie fan, I don't think I will be doing a binge watch of Tales of the Empire. I've got too many other videos to work on. So, yeah. Let's see. But again, if it's requested from you guys over on Patreon as a commission video, I could also do... then I will do it for sure. Because I take those commissions very seriously from you guys. Alright, so... Here we go. Let's see. Let me just get my notes up regarding this. Okay, then. So, I just took a screenshot of this headline. Now, Chris Hemsworth, I'm going to read this to you guys. Chris Hemsworth feels he owes fans another Thor movie after admitting, I didn't stick the landing with Thor Love and Thunder. So, basically what's happening with this is that Chris Hemsworth, now he's made mention of Thor before, of the fourth movie. He goes that his his kids' friends were all basically criticizing the movie. And he goes, it's a weird feeling when they all say, I didn't like the movie, or it was too comedic, or the CGI didn't look good, or this or that. And he goes, he half found it funny, but half at the same time he also kind of, it was on his mind that he didn't that they didn't succeed when it's a bunch of kids criticizing the movie. So that is a sad thing to hear. When I heard that, I was like, yeah, that doesn't sounds like he's trying to take it very positively, but at the same time there's some hurt there. So I felt for him when he said that. It's not first world problems or anything, but I still felt for him. And well, I will say, I don't know why he's blaming himself. In fact, he also said this. Let's bring this headline up. He says, I got caught up in the improv and the wackiness, and I became a parody of myself. Now, that's what I've said about a lot of characters. I've said that a lot of the MCU felt like it was going way too comedic. Now, Thor definitely got too comedic as well. But I'll say this, I never blamed Chris Hemsworth for that, because that was always a Kevin Feige, a Marvel, a Disney thing, and a Taika Waititi thing. So I never blamed Chris Hemsworth for it. The only reason I can imagine that he blames himself is if he had more creative control with the direction of his character than we originally thought. That's the only thing that I'm thinking, because he keeps bringing it up. And and that's the interesting thing, because all this time I thought it was Marvel and Taika Waititi's decision to make him the complete buffoon that he was in Thor 4. But maybe Chris Hemsworth had more of a part in that. Maybe. This is just speculation on my part. But, yeah. It's, very weird. And the Russo brothers, they did I'd say gave Thor the best arc, personally. If you look at Infinity War and Endgame, and he did a great job with it. He really did. Give me a second. I'll get back to Thor's performance in Infinity War. Chris Hemsworth's performance in Infinity War and Endgame as Thor. But MovieFan2002 has done a $2 super chat. Thank you very much, buddy. He goes, hey Eric, what are your thoughts on Caesar's death? I thought it was done very well, and it was very sad, and you can trace back to it in the third Apes movie and be like, yeah, it doesn't matter what happens, it was always going to end this way, which is kind of the tragic part of it. So yeah, I did really enjoy his death. Hopefully they do him justice if they talk about him in the upcoming Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Alright, thanks for the super chat, movie fan. Anyone else wants to ask me any questions and have me answer them now? Super chat is the way to do it, or Streamlabs chat. So let's get back to what I was talking about. Now, I will say this. Chris Hemsworth, he also mentioned something like he's not even that important or something. He said something to that effect. And I disagree with him. I really do, because Chris Hemsworth was great as Thor. It was the way. The problem was it was the way Marvel, Kevin Feige, and Taika Waititi handled his character arc. That was the problem, and I never gave it much thought at the time because I thought all our main actors' contracts were expiring after Endgame. But I gotta say, giving Asgard to Valkyrie was a terrible mistake at the end of Endgame. Because I think that would have been the perfect way to have Thor's character arc continue. Because if you look at Thor 4, rather than continuing his character arc from Avengers Endgame, they just kind of went right back to the beginning, the first Thor movie, and circled his character arc back to the beginning, back to the start. And they made him like this childish, spoilt brat, like this idiot buffoon kind of thing. Whereas he's come a long way since then. So what they needed to do was continue his development, but for good jokes, they just went back to the beginning and made him an idiot, a buffoon. So I think what they should have done was not given Asgard to Valkyrie at the end of Endgame, which was so stupid, looking back. Because turns out if they were... I thought they were just phasing him out because Chris Hemsworth was not going to come back as Thor and he didn't have... his contract had expired. But turns out he had another movie in him, and they were going to make a Thor 5 as well. So, yeah, what are they doing? It's like, if you plan to bring more Thor in, why'd you just get rid of his character arc and then just circle him back to the beginning? It makes no sense, guys. It really doesn't. So, that's why I said that they should have given that... What they said to Valkyrie, that she's going to take over Asgard... They should have let Thor try to rebuild Asgard. That would have been a great continuing character arc for him. Trying to rebuild Asgard. That would give him more responsibility and would have taken his character development and growth to the next level. But they didn't do that. They just decided to make him an idiot. And then they tried to put female Thor. What do they call her? Was it just they called her Thor as well? The Mighty Thor or something. Yeah, that was just wrong on their part. I really think they made a massive mistake when they did that. So, yeah, I don't agree with Chris Hemsworth when he blames himself. That's more of a studio and Taika Waititi thing and a Kevin Feige thing. Because the whole MCU was taken in this more comedic area. It wasn't just Thor Love and Thunder. So, yeah, and a lot of scenes were cut from the movie, clearly. The actors looked like they didn't care. Chris Hemsworth, I'm sure, did, but they just went too far with it. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe it was Chris Hemsworth's fault as well. Because, like I said, maybe he did have more creative input than we know. If he's being this hard on himself about it. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure about that. But it's not, I wouldn't say, I'd say at the end of the day, it's not his fault. It should, people that really pull the strings on this stuff, they should know better. But Marvel, they just don't. They've been screwing around and failing on a lot of things. So I don't blame him at the end of it. So, yeah, what do you guys think about this whole situation? Charlton says they should just say that Kang messed around with a timeline which led to the event of Thor Love and Thunder. The Ninder says, was there anyone who even liked Love and Thunder? Well, the normies, the normal audience members that don't review films or look into films as deep as we do, I'll tell you, even they thought it went over the top with his comedy. My brother said that his one of his co-workers, it was a female co-worker, she says that she didn't like the Thor 4 because she said it was too jokey. Like, there was too much comedy in it, too many jokes. And when the normies start saying that, that means there's a big problem. Because they are much more forgiving, but if they start to notice the mistakes that us reviewers start talking about and addressing, then boy, that means there is a big problem. That even the normies are basically seeing it. So yeah. Khan says, I don't even think Chris is at fault for this. Yeah, I don't think he's at fault either, at the very end. Matthew says, I mean, Chris was a producer. Well, that's the thing about producers. A producer can mean absolutely everything, or it can mean absolutely nothing. So, who knows how much involvement he had. I feel like in the end of the day, it's up to Kevin Feige, really. And even the director to an extent, like Taika Waititi. But yeah, it's just bad management from Marvel, really. That's what you got to put it down to. Marvel have really lost their touch. Even when you look at the casting for the upcoming Fantastic Four, that caused a stir. It's like, this was supposed to be where you were supposed to get back on track, where people were supposed to love you. But instead, they're making the same mistakes that have proved controversial for this franchise, and what is slowly eating away at the franchise. They're repeating the same mistakes with, like, the gender swapping of Silver Surfer. I know they say it's not gender swapping, but she's taking the male Silver Surfer's story arc and character arc, and they're giving it to her. So essentially, it is a gender swap. They just said that other thing, that she's from the comics, just to get people to back off. But people aren't stupid. They could see right through it. But yeah. Yeah, it's just it's just as you could tell, I'm at a loss for words. It's like, how many ways can you describe incompetence? Because that's just what it is. It's pure, sheer incompetence from Marvel's part. And I'm tired of finding words to describe it because they keep making the same mistakes. So yeah. At least we have Deadpool 3, Deadpool and Wolverine to look forward to, which is a Ryan Reynolds project. So let's wait for see what Ryan Reynolds does. That should be fun. Then we can go back to dreading what Marvel do after with the upcoming Captain America 4, Brave New World, which apparently is like 80 to 90%. They're trying to reshoot the whole thing. So yeah, let's see what they do. But I do not have any faith in them, to be perfectly honest with you. Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks for joining the stream. I really appreciate it. But yeah, it's Let's see. Movie fan says, the fact that Chris is blaming himself is giving me flashbacks to when Luz kept constantly blaming herself for everything that has happened. Let's hope Chris doesn't have suicidal thoughts like Luz. Who's Luz? And I doubt Chris Hemsworth is having that kind of thought process, guys. I don't think he's, that much into the career at that point. Because they've still had such successful careers prior. I'm sure Chris Hemsworth at the end of the day could be like, yeah, Thor 4 sucked, but Endgame was great, and that was a great arc that he did. That's what Chris Hemsworth should look at, because he should cut himself some slack, because he did a phenomenal job in that, as that performance. He brought me to tears at one point when he speaks to his mother, when he's acting like, oh yeah, I'm like the normal Thor, and then she finds out that, oh no, he's from the future. Then when he tries to keep it together, and she like, no, I'm not, and then she goes, yes, you are. And then when he starts breaking, and he goes, you're right, I am from the future. That had me tearing up in the theater. He was so good. Basically, give him the writing, he will surprise you. There's so much stuff he can do, but they just don't give him the writing. The writing in the MCU is so bad lately. Which, speaking of which, is what Batman's Gamer is right now. Looks like he's talking about, who's given a $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Batman's Gamer. He says, with bad writing of these Hollywood movies like Thor 4, why did the writers go on strike again? Is it pay? Well, with these movies, their pay is what they get, really. That is true, Batman's Gamer. Although, I feel like with Marvel, especially with how they've corporatized their movies so much, it feels like they tell them what to write. But then again, their writers don't seem like they're high-level writers anyway. So, yeah. But we also hear from Marvel that they say, do not read from the comics. They've said that with the last several projects. Someone on Twitter compiled all the interview clips where they says the first thing we were told was not to read the comics. Even the Secret Invasion writer was told that. Really ridiculous. So let's see here. Thank you very much, Batman's Gamer, for that $10 super chat. And then we got Jake coming in again, and he's done a $70 super chat after his $28 super chat. Jake, I really don't know what to say. Seriously, I keep saying this, and it's true. I don't know what else to say. Your generosity knows no end. Neither does your effect on the chat after you do a donation like that. Everyone's reaction to you is so hilarious. So Jacob's like, also, oh my god, Jake. Jake, bruv, a lot of people have a reaction to you, Jake, whenever you do that. Jake says, yeah, it's not his fault. The movie has screaming goats and a crappy CGI head. A CGI head that they had to redo for the home release, and they redid for the theater, and it still looked terrible. Jake says, anyways, I watched Boy Kills World a few days ago. Had a good time. That's great. I wanted to watch it a few days ago, but like I said, I was unwell, and we attended a funeral, so I couldn't watch it. So, yeah, I'm hoping to watch that, hopefully before Apes comes out. Let's see. There is. Sorry, just lost your question in the chat there. Great action sequences and pretty gory at times. Also, good plot twist. Anyways, I'm going to see Fall Guy. Oh, you're going to see Fall Guy? Yeah, I'm curious to see what you think about that, because I don't watch every movie that comes out in the theater, but I'll be curious to see what you think of that, Jake. And it's interesting you say it's pretty gory at times, because I've heard people say it's really gory. Here in the UK, we were talking about rate certificates last live stream, weren't we? It's got an 18, which is basically like an NC-17, except NC-18, if you know what I mean. Very hard R, basically. So, yeah, I've heard that the movie is very, very bloody, so yeah, I'm curious. I'm glad you enjoyed it, though, Jake, because I know you wanted that trailer reaction, which I gave you on my Patreon, free of charge, because it was because you've done such huge donations. I was like, I'll give you something back for that. And yeah, I'm so glad you enjoyed it, because you definitely did seem excited for it, so I'm glad if anyone enjoyed it, you really did. And a lot of people seem to be saying good things about it too, so yeah. I'll try to give that a watch at some point after I get some work done. Hopefully get some videos done first. I love how Big Bash is like, Jake did it again. Eamon Clark is like, Jake, you're the man. JDC, man, I've never watched Wish. my opinions have not changed on it because I've not seen it the first time. It just looks uninspired. Basically, there was actually... I read an article. Someone pointed me to an article recently on the internet. It's called the D Files, which is the Disney Files. And it talks about when John Lasseter, was that his name? John Lasseter, who's the guy behind Pixar, when Disney basically had him fired over allegations that were not proved in court, and then how the people that he hired throughout the years to make the great Disney, like the great Pixar movies that we know, that Disney tried to basically get rid of them, and they essentially bullied them, gave them crap workloads, and they wanted them out essentially so they can have more diverse people in. And the way they did it was such a toxic work environment, and that's why after the Coco movie, the 2017 Coco movie, which I thought was phenomenal, and I did not expect it to be so good. It had diversity and a freaking amazing story that left me, like, I had to hold back tears at the end of that movie. That was the last film that he was a part of. And apparently, all his people have been completely taken out now at this point, which is why Wish is made by the new diverse people that Disney hired, who have not had the same like experience that those previous veterans had. So because of that, Disney essentially fired their older, more experienced animators and brought in new people, and that ultimately explains why Wish just seems so un-Disney-like, and it seems so amateur, and for $200 million too. It's just insane. Spirit Hero says, Wish was an absolute bore fest. Good on you for not seeing it, Eric. Yeah. Jake says, Coco was a great movie. One of my top 10 Pixar films. Right? Like, I saw that movie just on a whim. I was like, you know what? I got a new 4K projector. I want to watch a variety of things in 4K, not just live action and things. I want to watch maybe animation, see what that looks like in HDR and everything. So I was going through, I think it was Disney Plus, and I was like, there's Coco. Let's give that a watch. And I was like, I don't like the look of it. Like, it just looks like... The cover looked generic to me. Like, I was like, this looks like it could be any Disney movie or any animated movie. It didn't look to me like it would be something good, but I heard good buzz about it, so I thought, alright, let's give it a watch. And like I said, dude, by the end of that movie, I was near tears. And the twist they do with one character, like a character revelation, had my jaw on the ground. I was like, whoa, that's dark. And I didn't expect that, but it was so tragic. Beautiful, beautiful movie. I need to see it again. That was a fantastic movie. MovieFan2002 has done a $5 super chat. One of you asked me, what's it like having eczema? Well, you can see right now. That's why I'm scratching my neck without even realizing. Let's see. To answer your question, Luz is the main character of The Owl House, and during the final season, she was blaming herself for everything Bellows did. Okay. Okay, then that makes more sense. Like, I've not seen The Owl House, I've heard of it, but that makes more sense now to me that when you mention it that way. So yeah, thank you very much for filling me in on that. I'd be surprised if Feige even has a brain at this point. Yeah. Adam Grunther is coming in with a hot take, says, hot take, Book of Life, then Coco. Well, I've not seen Book of Life, but I've always wanted to, so I'll see it and see what you mean by that. That sounds interesting. MovieFan2002 says, where you would place Coco among your favorite films of 2017? I don't know, because I saw the movie a couple years after it came out, so I didn't think about it. And I need to see it again, because I've not seen it in a while. Saeed says, have you heard about the recent knife attack in London? There's always a knife attack in London. That was kind of... So I don't know about this one. No, I've not heard about a recent one, but there's always those kind of attacks in there. Let's see. We've got another $5 super chat, and it's from Batman's Gamer again. Thank you very much, Batman's Gamer. Says, you want to talk about diversity in Disney? Percy Jackson Disney Plus series. Modernized and Black Zeus with a business suit at Olympus and everything else. Yeah, it's the stuff you kind of expect from them at this point, isn't it? I'm not surprised by this stuff anymore, because Disney just seem to... I'm not against it if you can do it in a way that is smart, and I've given my examples of what I thought was smart, but they are not. The G-Gamer says, have you seen Encanto by any chance? I haven't, but that's another movie that John Lasseter had made. what the last movie that had his fingerprints on it before he got fired. And you can see the effect that his movies have versus the effect that the other Disney movies have, which is that no one goes to see them. So yeah, Disney have brought all this on themselves, really. Marvin says, I'm an activist and I care about writing. To an extent, everyone's an activist. They've got their own viewpoints. But yeah, it's like, if you just do it well, and you do a good story as well, that you write a good story first, you don't try to write a story around someone's ethnicity, which means you're just putting a spotlight on it, but you're not really doing anything to, to enrich in it or embolden it, then at that point, it's like you're just making something that's just a fluff piece. It's essentially just like those social media posts that they do. It's essentially that, but just put into a movie. And it's they combine it into the script. So yeah. Eric, I swear you're doing this. Yeah, you are, because I just saw that emoji. Hot take. Cause then The Dark Knight. Oh, man. Well, okay, now you guys are just messing with me. Big Bash says, Eric, I have a better hot take. Madam Web, then The Dark Knight. You guys trying to push all kinds of my buttons, aren't you? By the way, I saw Madam Web with my brother a couple days ago. Boy, was it bad. It was so bad. They were not only dubbing the villain's voice, but they were dubbing the rest of our characters' voices too. It was so bad the way they were doing it. And there's a death scene there of was it a guy who was an ambulance guy, or was he a cop? I can't remember. He died, and Madam Web was crying over him, and they were putting the sad music in there, the sad acting, and I'm like, who is this guy? We haven't even seen him much. And they're acting like he's one of the most important people ever that just died. It was me and my brother looked at it, and I was like, that was so bad. And we were saying, who is this guy? Like, seriously, why are we supposed to care? Not only that, I said to my brother that there's a scene in Smallville Season 5 where Lana is trying to drive away from Lex Luthor, and then she gets ran over by a truck. I said, Madam Web, it looked like it copied that exact same scene from Smallville, except Smallville did it better. Even the car crash in Smallville was so much better than the wimpy car crash they got in Madam Web. Seriously, watch that scene in Season 5 of Smallville. It's identical, even with the sad music and stuff, and also with Clark's father saying to him, there's nothing you could have done. Nothing. Ben says that to Madam Web, there's nothing you could have done. That's what he says it again. It's like, I swear it seems like they just copied Smallville. Whether they did it on purpose or as a coincidence, it copied that scene. MovieFan 2002 has donated $5. Thank you very much again, buddy. And he says, you saw that shitfest. I can't wait to see it on your worst of 2024 list. Did the movie come out in 2024? Oh, wow. It did, didn't it? Was it January or February where it came out? Oh, yeah, it is going to be on my worst list then, isn't it? Yeah. Damn it. So far, that's definitely the #1 movie of the list, so yeah. CW inspired. It's Webbin time. Yep. You guys are so funny here. Like, February, Rohan says, yeah. The Ninder says, I mean, the fact that Madam Web didn't even have the trolley status Morbius had is saying something. Yeah, and just wait until we talk about Craven coming up soon. There's stuff I can tell you about that as well. Now that we're talking about these two, Madam Web and Morbius, I have stuff to say about Craven in that regard too, so stay tuned for that story when we get to that. Robin says, I have an even better hot take. Madam Web, Morbius, Thor Love and Thunder, then The Dark Knight. You guys, are these hot takes or are these meant to be just trolling Eric takes? Elite says, oh man, I can't wait to see Madam Web now. Jake says, Madam Web looks like something made with AI. Yeah, there was the writing in there. We were like, this is not how people talk in some scenes. It felt like it was written by AI. It's going to be trash. Craven the Hunter is coming soon. Well, is it really coming soon? Because it feels like they keep pushing it back. It's like a year and a half at this point they're pushing it back, which is what they did with Morbius, I think. And we had a pandemic for that. Here we got no pandemic and they still keep pushing it back. And this December is not a good date to release it. Because we got that Mufasa movie, which no one cares to see. But more importantly, we've got Sonic 3 coming out that month. So, yeah. Let's see. Batman's Gamer says, Bully Maguire can beat all 3 Spider-Women just at by rizzing them up. Have you seen my webs? Have you seen her legs? I'm trying to think of how I can say that joke to make it sound funny, because I feel like there's a rhythm to how you wrote this, and I just can't crack it. I'm thinking about it. I'm sorry, buddy. That's the issue with reading off of text sometimes. It's hard to read it in the rhythm that you have said. MovieFan 2002 says, guys, just stop hurting Eric. Those pieces of shit are not better than The Dark Knight. It's okay. I find it funny. So it is humorous at the end of the day, so it's okay. Jake says, Craven the Hunter, coming 2132. They might as well just make it a time capsule movie at this point, wouldn't they? I hate that excuse. Oh, it was because of COVID. Yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly. They were using that as an excuse. MoveN 2002. Actually, I can't answer that yet. Like I said, those are going to be for super chats. I need to get back to the stories at hand. So, any more things you guys have to say about Chris Hemsworth before we move on to the next story and the whole thing regarding that? And what do you think they need to do for Thor 5 when they make that one? Because apparently they want to put Hercules in it. You know, continue from that credit scene that we got in Thor 4. You guys let me know what you think about that. Then we'll move on to the next story. Lil XX up next says, you are insanely attractive. I hope you're joking. And the reason I say that is because I don't know if you said that as I was drinking this with one hand, so I wonder if you are joking about that. I can't tell. Depends on when you wrote that. Was it when I was drinking that or what? But if you meant it legitimately, thank you. Let's see. Sony's trying their best to hide Craven the Hunter. That's what I think as well. But don't worry, we'll talk more about that in detail. Batman's Game has given another $5 donation. You guys are too much. You are so nice and generous when it comes to these donations. Sydney Sweeney said that, quote, when she was asked if all 3 Spider-Women go up against the 3 Spider-Men and tried making a joke. Oh, Sydney Sweeney said that, quote, when she was asked if all 3 Spider-Women go up against the 3 Spider-Men and tried making a joke. Oh, right, let me go back up then. Bully Maguire can beat all 3 Spider-Women just at by rizzing them up. Have you seen my webs? Have you seen her legs? Is that a joke that she said? Okay, I'll need to see that joke. I need to. It was funny though when Sydney Sweeney says that you might have seen me from that movie she was in. Then she goes, "You will definitely have not seen me in Madam Web." And the movie was still in the theaters as she was saying that. Normally they wait months after the movie has come out, then make jokes about the movie, but not while it's still in theaters. But yeah, Sony, I've got something to be really embarrassed about with that. Let's see. MovieFan 2002, thank you very much for the $2 donation. Says, Bernard Hill passed away today. Yeah, I heard about that. That is quite sad that he passed away. He was a very good actor. Jess says, Thor 5 had to be super dark and get an R rating. No, it doesn't need an R rating. It needs to be a PG-13, but they need to treat it with more gravitas. Make it an event movie. That doesn't mean multiple cameos or anything like that, but just write a good story, for crying out loud, because they haven't done that, seriously. Superfly Catboy says, what microphone do you use? I use a Rode NT USB microphone. It's a fantastic microphone. Reviews says, "Hey Eric, why did your score for Suicide Squad change from a 6 to a 3? Because my opinions on movies do tend to change as it goes. I can't even remember if I gave it a 3, so that's interesting, because even now I forget. So who knows, maybe if I watch the movie again, it might go up, or it might go down even lower, or it might get the same score." Okay then, so, looks like everyone's done with that, so let's move on to the next story, which is the new Lion King Mufasa live-action movie. Disney. They really couldn't give a toss about what movies we want from them, can they? And just to further provide proof on that matter, look, just take a look at what the like and dislike ratio is for the trailer on the Disney YouTube channel. Take a look. Yep, that is the like to dislike ratio, and it keeps changing for the worst as it goes. Like, I refreshed that before the stream, but I also, like, at the beginning of today, I looked at that number, and it was like 300,000 dislikes, something like that, 303,000 dislikes. But then I looked at it a few hours later, went to 323,000 dislikes. So, yeah, Jess, a lot of you have got, like, the vomit emojis. Ew, wow, it should have been animated. Yeah, I agree. The G-Gamer says, YouTube tries to hide the dislikes to movies, but we see all. Yeah. That is interesting, isn't it? For those of you that don't know how we got the like and dislike count here, there is a tool that you can apply to your web browser, which is called, like, was it Restore YouTube Dislike Counter or something? I can't remember. I had a name to it. So you can install it on your web browser, and it'll give you an estimated dislike count, essentially. So, yeah. This is the like to dislike ratio. And as you can see, people are not impressed. There's 323,000 dislikes and 129,000 likes. The majority of people do not like this. And do you know what? The comments weren't... I don't think anyone can say that these are toxic comments. These comments were all just critical of Disney. There was nothing political about it. There was nothing nefarious about it or racist about it. It was literally just people commenting on the movie and saying, who wanted this? None of us wanted this, and Disney do not fail to give us what we don't want. People were like just bashing on Disney, saying that we don't want this. They were saying who wanted it, why couldn't it be animated, which is what I wanted. It would have been so much better if they went back to their roots and made this an animated Disney movie. But they didn't do that. They decided to do this instead. And guess what? Everyone in the comments was doing exactly what you guys are doing in the chat right now. They were saying, nah, I'd rather watch Sonic that day. And some people were saying, I'm watching Sonic the day this comes out. What about you guys? And everyone was all giving the comment thumbs up and everything. Basically, everyone was trashing on this trailer, basically. They says that we are not interested. And apparently the same day this comes out, Sonic 3 comes out. And Disney must have thought that they were going to trounce Sonic 3, but no, everyone was saying they're going to go watch Sonic 3 instead of this. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm still recovering at the same time. But yeah, so... yeah, everyone's like, we don't care about this. So much so that guess what Disney did? This, I'm going to show you, is the page, the page for their trailer. And take a look at this. You see that? Comments are turned off. I shit you not. Take a look. They actually turned off the comments because they were getting nothing but negative, like, reactions from people. And people saying they just didn't care. So you could tell that they were like, yeah, this is not the kind of publicity we want out there, so they thought they'll try to silence it by doing this. But then people just went to the trailer that was uploaded on another YouTube channel and were giving comments on that. So yeah, what do you guys think about that then? Looks like we're going to get another flop for Disney by the end of the year, especially with how much money it costs to make these movies, you know, these CGI heavy types. Gwen said it best, what cowards. The Ninder is like, oh, so that's why it's like that. Yeah, because I was going to go through, read some more of the comments, but then I refreshed the page to see what the newer comments would be, and it all of a sudden said, comments are turned off. I was like, damn it, I wish I did not refresh the page and just read what was there before, you know, but yeah. Yeah, they did try to make this YouTube Kids just so they can use that to hide behind. But yeah, guys, no one was into this. No one. Yes, Gwen, you did get mentioned. I do that on this channel. A lot of people on YouTube for some reason don't. I don't understand why they don't, because it feels nice when you get mentioned. Matthew says, Eric, have you seen the Lion God TV show? I think Simba turns into a villain in that show. I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. I didn't know he turns into a villain. So yeah, I think it's pretty fair to say that Sonic 3 is going to wipe its ass with Mufasa, the Lion King. And Disney is going to really hear about that in the press. Kind of funny, isn't it? Let me just sort this little image out that I've got going here. Because we got a little... There we go. Let's just keep that to the front. Big Bash, I always give you a shout out, don't I? But there's another one for you. Jacob says, okay, let's move on to the next story. Don't worry, we will. But I want to see what you guys think. Movie Fan says, speaking of Sonic 3, have you watched the Knuckles show yet? No, I haven't. I was thinking about doing a Let's Binge Watch video. But like I said, the funeral happened and, you know, that's not going to happen anymore. But, yeah. Yeah. Sonic 3, Jess... Movie Fan says, Sonic 3, yes. Craven, no. Eric says, no for Disney. Yes for Captain Eric. Big Bash says, Captain Eric kills the modern Disney universe. Yeah, that would be something I'd like to see. Jacob says, next story, please. Jacob will get there, okay? Hold on. That's going to be the last story we talk about. Big Bash wants to move on to... Okay, then. I guess we want to move on. Last thing I'll read is Ranger Goat says, I'm actually hyped for Sonic 3, unlike Mufasa. Yeah, exactly. And Maven said, how dare you insult toilet paper? Yeah. Okay, then. Let's move on to the next story. Okay. Right. So, Craven the Hunter. If you want to know what that sound was, it's me just looking at Jake donating another $70 donation. Jake, I don't know what to say. Spirit Hero saying, he's done it again. Jake, oh my god. Dear God, Jake. Jake. Billy goes, Jake. Spells it weird. Miles is like, Jake is back. Batman's gamer, Jake, bruv. Jake back at it again. Jake really likes to spend money. Look what the cat dragged in. And then Movie Fan 2002 has also done a super chat as well. Let me write these down while I see them. There we go. Alright then, Jake, let's answer your super chat. Thank you very much, Jake. Seriously, I don't know what to say. This is just beyond words. Words can't express the appreciation that I feel when you do these huge donations. So thank you very much, Jake. Pointless cash grab the movie. I'd rather watch a lion have violent diarrhea than see this movie in theaters. Anyways, I wonder, what modern movie will be milked for years later down the line? That's a good question. What modern movie will be milked for years later down the line? The question first is, are there movies as good as The Lion King that you can milk down the line? Because right now, all I can think is Barbie is a movie that people liked. Are they going to milk that? The whole toys into movies thing? Is that what they're going to milk? Yeah, probably. But yeah, I feel like Hollywood is at the stage where they're milking things, and where they're already milking a lot of things, and they're realizing is getting them into trouble. So I think they're going to try to milk stuff all the time. But I think they're in a stage right now where they're already at the top of their game in milking stuff, and it's not bringing them the returns they want. So Jake, I think that you might be in luck with that regard, because they're gonna have to find something else to milk, because the stuff they're milking is just tired. But the things they're milking are some of the hugest franchises out there: Indiana Jones, Star Wars. The list goes on. Even the Lion King now. So Disney can't just milk their stuff. They have to care, which they just don't. MoveFan2002 says, Eric, what is your favorite Pixar movie that isn't Toy Story? The Incredibles is a Pixar movie, right? I was going to say Toy Story 2 as a joke first, by the way. But I didn't say it until now. So, yeah, let me just double check. Was The Incredibles, that was a Pixar, wasn't it? Yeah, it's a Pixar Animation Studios movie and released by Walt Disney Pictures. So yeah, Incredibles, the first Incredibles, I'll say. Yeah, Movievan, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. And thank you, Jake, for that insane super chat. Insane $70 super chat. Batman's Gamer has also given a super chat. He's given a $2 super chat. This is actually really impressive, the amount of super chats you guys are giving. The last live stream, I think there was only 5 super chats in the whole live stream. This beats that one. In the words of Monica from Friends, these live stream donations kicks last live stream's donations ass. I might have taken some liberties with that line, but yeah, pretty much. So let's see. Batman's Gamer says, Sony, go Kraven off. Just go Kraven off. That's actually not a bad thing. Yeah, Kraven off. Morbius off? Shut the Morbius up. No, okay, I'm not going to go down that trail of thought. See what you made me do, Batman's Gamer. Let's see. Okay. Eric says, hot take. Kraven, then The Dark Knight. Okay, then. I'm not going to fall for that no more. So, Parker says, I hear they want Thor 5 to be like Multiverse of Madness. If that is what they want, that is stupid, but I've not heard that. Alright, so, let's go and talk. Excuse me, sorry. Let's talk then about Kraven. So, Kraven. What is there to say about Kraven? There you go. That's what we could say about it. Delayed again. So yeah, the movie has gone through a few delays, hasn't it? And we've only had one trailer so far, and 2 big delays. Does this remind you guys of anything? Well, it reminds me, certainly, of Morbius. This is the same thing that happened to Morbius. This movie has now, except Morbius got delayed, I think, more times. But there's one thing that this has in common. This movie has now been delayed 2 times, and these are huge delays, just like with Morbius. And again, just like with Morbius, delaying the movie this many times can make the movie feel old by the time it finally releases. That's how we all felt about Morbius, and that was one of the many reasons the movie bombed. Because even the people that were interested in it lost interest. It felt like it should have been out for digital download or something at this point. And so it's like, so why is it out for theaters? Why should we have to pay for it in theaters when it should at this point have already been out several times on home release? Now, I think that Sony are only doing this to delay the inevitable. I personally think that Sony just don't want to release Craven so close to Madam Web, because having two embarrassing failures so close together is probably more embarrassment than they can handle. So separating the release of the two probably eases the pain a little bit for them. If you ask me, I think that's what is going on. So, yeah. Jake says, are people looking forward to this movie if it comes out? Are audiences craving Craven? Sorry for the lame pun, just had to. You really did. That is so bad, Jake. So bad, it's brilliant. But to be honest, I think that is the smartest. That is so much more smarter writing than anything the Craven movie will have. So you got some points there, my man. Big Bash says just cancel it. They're not going to, but yeah, they might as well, ain't it? This is the only R-rated superhero movie that I just don't care about, because they're giving the R rating to a movie I didn't even care if it had the R rating. It's like if anything should have gotten the R rating, it should have been Venom 1 and Venom 2 especially. And they could have done some cool stuff with Morbius with the R rating, but yeah, they're just not. Then they give this the R rating. This is like the most, probably aside from Madam Web, this is probably the most uninteresting movie they could have given an R rating to. So yeah. What do you guys think then? Do you think... Do you agree with what I'm saying, that Sony are trying to like just separate the release of this and Madam Web because they don't want two huge failures so close together? That's my hunch as to why they're still delaying it. And delaying it from August, which I think was actually a pretty good release date for it, to December is just going to make it have a worse performance. It really is. But do you know what's good though? I just thought of this now. Joker 2 is coming out in October. That's going to be an R-rated movie. That's an R-rated comic book movie. And it's going to do great at the box office. I know it's going to do great at the box office. Might not do as good as the first movie, but it's still going to do great, hundreds of millions of dollars. Kraven is going to flop and bomb at the box office. And Sony, they can't say, well, people are just not interested in superhero movies. That's why this failed. No, this is supposed to be a villain. A villain who's got his own spin-off movie that's rated R. It's going to be like-for-like comparison with Joker 2. So if this movie fails, they can't say, well, superhero movies are just declining now. That's why. So R-rated superhero movies is a bad investment. This year, there's going to be Deadpool and Wolverine and Joker 2. Joker 2 in particular, because it's more like-for-like comparison as a spin-off villain movie. They cannot hide behind any excuses with this one. So I'm actually happy they've delayed it to December, because Sony are just going to have... There's no justifying why this one's going to fail. They can try to make excuses, but it's not going to work, because we'll have two R-rated movies that came out before this that will have done very well. So, yeah. What do you guys think of that? That's going to mean Sony have kind of landed themselves in it, because it'll be embarrassing to have an R-rated movie fail this year, given that it's up against two others. The Ninder says, never cared for this movie's existence, and I still don't care now. Yeah, no one cared. Parker says, Deadpool, I'm not wanting to give my Disney my money. That's understandable. Jess says, Eric, I guess Martin Scorsese was right about superhero movies. Do you agree? I disagree with him, because he's right about these movies that Disney are releasing and Sony are releasing. But superhero movies, when they're inspired and when they've actually got like a real story to tell, then Martin Scorsese is completely wrong. But his words are just right with the crappy movies where these studios just seem to not care. They think we can just make anything superhero related and people will pay us to see it. Disney, Marvel in particular thought that, and well, look at them now. So yeah, his words are true now of the crappy movies that come out, but I agree more with what Paul Dano said recently, which is that the Batman was successful because it was a superhero movie that actually really tried. and it was a really quality movie. It wasn't like the generic green screen, artificial CGI superhero movie that is being made mostly nowadays. It was a movie that cared, and it treated itself like a proper movie. That is what you need. It had great writing and everything, and I feel like a lot of these movies just don't have that anymore. Eric, I don't know what the Michael biopic is. Was it the Michael Jackson biopic or someone else? I don't know. I've not heard of it. Batman's Gamer. Web you, Sony. Web you. Indeed. But at this point, I think they'll be webbing themselves, because we know what the whole scenario is at this point, so we can't be as disappointed anymore. I think we'll be stupid if we're disappointed, because it's a crappy Sony movie. That's what we all know it to be now. Do you think Angela says, do you think Craven will be worse than Madam Web? I think it can't be worse than Madam Web. I'll be shocked if it's worse than Madam Web. Madam Web and Venom 2, I don't know which one is worse. They were both unbearable, but I think Madam Web was actually worse. But Venom 2 was just noise, though, as well. Madam Web was not noise to me, from what I can remember. It was just a nuisance. MovieFan 2002 says, do you want to know what else was delayed? The animated Avatar Aang movie is being pushed back to January 2026. I heard about that. I find that stupid, especially they decided to delay to January of all months. Yeah, January is the crap movie month where studios just dump all the movies they have no confidence in. So it's weird to put it in January. It was fine where it was. And to wait 2026, waiting to 2025 was already a big wait, but 2026? Why? Yeah. Hot take, Logan over The Dark Knight. That's fair enough. Tharan says, hot take, Edward Norton was a better Hulk than Mark Ruffalo. That's not a hot take, I actually agree. His Hulk design was better too. Especially with how aggressive he was. The G-Gamer says, right now, what movie would you be the most disappointed in if it got a tax write-off? Joker 2. Right now. Rohan says, you're not responding to me. Hate you. What are you saying? I can't see your messages. Sony, you should have cancelled the movie from the beginning. Sony should have listened to the fans and give us Spider-Man, not Craven, Madam Web, or Morbius. Sony. I agree, Rohan. It's funny because Sam Raimi actually talked about Spider-Man 4 recently. He was asked, if you did Spider-Man 4, how would you do it? And I liked his answer that he gave to the interviewer. So I would rather have him make a Spider-Man 4. Velka says, who would be the best actor to play Craven in a live-action movie featuring Craven? I can't think of anyone right now off the top of my head. I don't know. Probably I would have liked a no-name actor, someone new come in that just looked like the part, and then he could become iconic from, from that. That's what I would probably have done. Spirit Hero says, hot take, The Marvels, Ant-Man 3. Fair enough. I think Ant-Man 3 is better than The Marvels, but that's not saying much. Parker CS2 says, I'm scared Seth Rogen will make that Venom animated movie terrible too. Yeah, you're not the only one who's scared. I'm also scared of that as well, but... Big Bash says, what would Spider-Man 4 be about? Watch his interview, that recent interview he did. It's just a very tiny clip of an interview. But he did a very good job describing it. He says he couldn't give an answer to that, but he told us what he would have to do to figure out that story. And he gave an example of what that story is and how the villain would have to tie into that. It's such a great interview. I would like to see him do that. But no, Sony put all this money into these crappy movies that we just don't care about. Oh yeah, Marvin says Alan Richson. That sounds pretty good as Craven, but I would still want someone new. Jacinda says, it's like some studios just want to make money the easy and lazy way. Yeah, but it's not making them money that easy and lazy way, so they need to figure out some other system. Minecraft World says, hey Eric, are you excited for the new Planet of the Apes? I actually am, because I'm a huge Planet of the Apes fan. I've seen all the movies except for the second one of the original, and Battle for the Planet of the Apes, which I still have to see. I still want to see that one. But I skipped the second one because I heard that wasn't great. But yeah, so yeah, I'm a huge fan. The only thing I don't like is what they've done with the female character in this. She seems to be like I feel like if there was anything that Disney put their fingerprints on with this movie, it was that female character, because she seems like the typical generic, checklist strong female character, but hopefully in the movie it won't be the case like that. But she doesn't stand out like, say, how Nova did in War for the Planet of the Apes, or James Franco's character did in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, or some of the human characters did in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. This just feels more like a generic Hollywoodified female character, whereas the others felt like humans, like, normal human beings. And special in their own way, especially Nova in the third movie, in War for the Planet of the Apes. They made a very pivotal part of the movie, but in a very special way, as opposed to this new one where it's just a strong female character. Big Bash says, my dad saw the original Apes movie. Yeah, I saw the original Apes movie on my 4K projector in 4K, and it was great. Movie Fan 2002 says, which movies are you going to compare Kingdom of Planet of the Apes with? I'm not going to compare any. I'm just going to watch the movie, probably do a quick movie review like I did with War for the Planet of the Apes all those years ago. I don't really know if there's a versus video in there. But we'll see. Once I see the movie, if I think there is, we'll see what happens. Alright, so any other questions about Kraven before we move on to the Q&A? Robin says, hot take, the Batman, then the Dark Knight. Yeah, interesting one. I still prefer the Dark Knight. Batman's Gamer says, you'd have to pay me to watch Kraven, Venom the Last Dance, and Madam Web. Yeah, that's what the third movie is called, Venom the Last Dance. When I heard that, I was surprised. What a crappy title. They should say it's rated R, but they're going to just make it PG-13 and safe again. Charlton says, I saw a bit of Rise of the Planet of the Apes on TV last night. I've never seen any of them, and I already got sympathetic and emotional for Caesar. I think that's the monkey's name. Yeah. It was a fantastic job they did with Caesar in that. You do feel sorry for him. Alright. We're at the Q&A session now. You ask me any questions you want. Super chats are still appreciated, as always. And yeah, start asking me questions. And if you want to donate on Patreon, which you can see all the, perks up here. If you go to the $1 perk, you still get a bunch of perks, like I said, like you get the trailer reactions, but you'll also get the Patreon version of a Discord server, so you'll get to chat with everyone there, including me. And the $5 perk, you'll get, of course, gaming and the trailer reactions and early access to the Versus videos. So that means when the Avatar Versus video comes up, the Avatar The Last Airbender Versus video, early access to patrons first before it comes to YouTube. Then you can have right here the big one, which is all the perks, including Let's Watch, which is my big show. And yeah, I got so many stuff in there, like watching Five Nights at Freddy's on Halloween. Also, when I was watching the first half of the Invincible Season 2, as well as Let's Watch of some seasonal movies like The Grinch, both How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the old animated short animated movie, as well as the Jim Carrey movie, which I've also got up there as well. So Gwen says, would you ever consider watching Has Been Hotel? I looked into it because it did look interesting at first, but then I found out it's not going to really be my kind of thing, so I didn't watch it. Joshman says, I have a strange feeling that Craven the Hunter is going to be even worse than Madam Web. I don't think they can make it worse. I feel like at the very least they'll have some good action sequences. Maybe that could be fun with rated R. So in isolation, those action scenes alone should hopefully make the movie better than Madam Web. But we'll see what happens. So one thing I've learned from Sony is that anything is possible in terms of how crap it can be under their hands. Big Bash says, what time is it in the UK? It's 10:33 p.m. So yeah. I'm going to have to try to do these streams earlier over the... because now that we're getting to the summer. So yeah. Jason King says, have you watched Invincible Season 2 yet? I've seen the first half, and I put my Let's Watch reactions and thoughts and reviews up on my Let's Watch page on my Patreon. But I haven't seen the final 4 episodes yet because, like I said, I had the flu, and now I've got to get some versus videos done first. But yeah, I'm going to find time and watch those and then record my reactions and put it up and everything as well. So yeah. I haven't seen the last 4 of them, is it? Or the last half of them? I haven't seen those yet of the recent season. Parker CS says, hey Eric, I hear Sam Raimi doesn't want to work with Marvel Studios anymore and is fed up with corporate BS. Thoughts? I haven't heard that, and I feel like if he said that, I would have heard that. Are you sure he said that? I bloody well hope he said it. Let's see. Jake, I thought you were done with the donations. I didn't know you were going to do another one. Wow. Seriously, you are... Jake, I'm always struggling with what to say when you do this every time, but thank you very, very much. Jake says, I know Craven from the Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions video game. He's a boss battle. What's the character like in the comics? Anyways, I have a feeling Disney will find a way to screw up POTA later down the line. Planet of the Apes later down the line. Yeah, I'm sure they will. I heard rumors of like trans apes and all that, and I was like, for the apes, I don't think that's something that they would bother doing. Because they're more in the olden times. That's not something that they would do, but hey, Disney will always find a way to force something like that in, won't they? But yeah, we'll see what happens with this movie. Thankfully, it's got the writers from the previous film, so we'll see how it goes. I don't know, they can always be told what to write by Disney. But yeah, Kraven, I saw him from the 90s animated show. That's the first time I saw him, but I am aware that he was in the Shattered Dimensions game. I remember the advertisements showed him. In fact, I played it on my Steam Deck. The Shattered Dimensions on the PlayStation 3. I played the level with Kraven. I've not played the levels beyond that and the tutorial. But I played the first level where you play a Spider-Man. You fight Kraven and his people. It wasn't a very good battle in the video game, but that Kraven was pretty cool, I thought. Looked very comic booky. So, yeah. Is that what you did, Jake? 1 super chat per story. Thought you'd do that today. Well, you have, and it's very, very helpful, so thank you very, very much with that. I'm so lucky to have such generous viewers like you guys. And speaking of generous, Movie Fan 2002 has done another $5 super chat. What is your ranking of the Planet of the Apes films? I don't know. I do know that... because it's just too much to rank, personally. But I do know that I liked, I think it was Escape from the Planet of the Apes, the 3rd one. I liked that, and I liked the 4th one, which had Caesar in it, where they were trying to... It's kind of like Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but I can't remember what it was called. But I liked that one a lot. I think that was my favorite. Then Escape. But I think my favorite of the movies, though, is still Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, then War for the Planet of the Apes, and then the first Planet of the Apes movie, then not Escape, the one that came out after that with Caesar, that Planet of the Apes, and then Escape from the Planet of the Apes. Conquest, I think that's what it was called. Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, and then Escape from the Planet of the Apes. That's the order I'll put it in. I still haven't seen Battle, and I did not see the second movie of the original. Yeah, Joshman. Eric says, Eric, have you realized that the Lord of the Rings anime movie is coming out in December? That's another thing that's coming out in December. So we got cramped December. So we've got, let's see. got Mufasa coming out, Sonic 3, Kraven, and now that Lord of the Rings anime movie. Insane amount of stuff going on, seriously. And Jake, I want to say thank you very much again for that super chat, seriously. It's words can't describe how grateful I am. Manola has done a $2 super chat. Thank you very much for that. And says, have you heard of Howl's Moving Castle? I have, but that's about the extent of it. And yes, Manola, I think you asked if I had done something to my hair. Yes, I've got myself a haircut, and I've also trimmed my beard and had it shaped. So, yeah. Big Bash says the new Apes movie is set 300 years in the future. Wasn't it 100 years in the future? But yeah, that is kind of irritating. Matt Reeves had an idea for how the story could continue after War for the Planet of the Apes. I wish they would have done that, but they still could. They can go back in time in one of the sequels and delve into that, which I hope they do. Angela says, what is your favourite Venom? My favourite Venom is from Ultimate Spider-Man, the video game. I really like that Venom. Jess says, Eric, you haven't read any of my comments during the entire live stream. There's a lot of comments here. There's been the most people that have tuned into this live stream than my others as well. Jess says, Eric, are you worried about Apes 4 because it has a woman in it? No, because the Apes movie have had women in it before. This one just looks more like it's got a Disney female character in there. Like, you could just tell this is the strong female character type. Even when they says she is smarter than most. Like, the way they're talking, that sounds like the way Disney want their female characters described as. It seems very studio-driven. Big Bash says, what was Matt Reeves' idea? Matt Reeves' idea was awesome. Matt Reeves says that he put Bad Ape in War for the Planet of the Apes, and that was not only to give you an extra character who had a tragic backstory and also was a bit of a comic relief. Sorry, just wiped my nose there off camera. But what Matt Reeves said is that Bad Ape, as well as being the character introduced in the movie, is also meant to tell you in the film that the virus has gone worldwide and not only affected humans worldwide, but affected the apes worldwide. And those apes are much more aggressive towards humans because humans put them in zoos and everything. Those apes were not guided with Caesar's guidance, so they were not taught to appreciate and be kind to humans and to live like, side by side with them. So they did not have the benefit of Caesar's guidance, those apes around the world. So what that means that those apes hate humans because humans have imprisoned them and trapped them and treated them like pets. So essentially what Matt Reeves said is that by teasing this in War for the Planet of the Apes, he says it might be that in the future it might not just be apes versus humans, it might be apes versus apes, meaning Caesar's apes who say respect the humans and like not to imprison them, versus the other apes around the world who basically don't care about the humans and want to imprison them and replace them. So that means it could be a war between apes and apes. That would have been a really interesting potential future movie in there. Because they also have Nova with them, don't they, in that third movie when Caesar dies. So they basically have a human with them, and those other apes can say, why would you have a human with you? They're this. And then Caesar's apes could be like, no, they're not. The humans are not bad like you say, and all that kind of stuff, So basically that would have been a great story if they could have continued that, but unfortunately they skipped 100 to 300 years later, so yeah, such a shame they haven't done that. Jason King says, I haven't seen War for the Planet of the Apes. What happened to Caesar? You're gonna have to watch the movie. But then again, I might have already said stuff. The G Gamer says, pick your poison, direct-to-video Disney sequels or live-action Disney remakes. Good night, Fireboy. Thank you very much for joining the stream. I really appreciate it. The Dark Lord, I have not seen Tale of the Empire yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. Let's see. G Gamer, what was your question? Pick your poison, direct-to-video Disney sequels or live-action Disney remakes. Easily, I'll say direct-to-video Disney sequels, because you never know what you'll get with those. You could get one that's partly fun. I remember when I was younger that we did have fun with some of them. I remember the third Aladdin movie was pretty cool, even though the animation I thought wasn't great. Good in parts, but not great for what you expect when you look at the first movie. The second movie's animation was bloody pathetic. Looked like a TV show for such a big story, The Return of Jafar. They should have made a movie out of that. Jacob Jean has done a $2 super chat. Says, "Hey Eric, are you excited for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?" I am. I'm really looking forward to it. Review says, "I have to leave now. Bye, Eric." Well, goodbye, buddy. Thank you very much for dropping by. I really appreciate it. So yes, Jacob, I am looking very forward to it. And thank you for your super chat. Parker says, "I'm an anchovy." Did you find that joke in my video really funny? Because, yeah, that's a reference to one of the jokes I made in my recent videos. Batman's Gamer says, "The Batman series was too futuristic and gothic, really." You mean the 2005 show, the Batman series? I really enjoyed it. It wasn't that futuristic, I don't think. Yep, Kevin Conroy was legit. Taran says, "Favorite live-action Batman, Christian Bale." I also really enjoy Michael Keaton. Robert Pattinson's also really cool, but yeah. Eric, did you see Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire? Yes, I have. I thought it was a fun movie, but I had problems. Big Bash says, "Eric, where can you find a script or something related to Matt Reeves' original Apes 4? There is no script of it. He just said it in an interview. He described what the potential future of the franchise could be if the studio wanted to make more movies, and he says that he had hinted on something, and that's what he hinted towards. Miles Adair says, "If you had to choose the Batman or Oppenheimer soundtrack, cinematography, performance, and writing, production, and director, I think you might choose the Batman." And you're right, I do choose the Batman. Let's see, Rohan had a question. Giancarlo Esposito is joining the MCU. Will not be the role like Doctor Doom or Professor X, etc. So what will be your thought if you have heard of it? I don't know what character that he's going to play, so I don't know what answer to give you on that one. We've got to wait and see, or hear some more rumors at least, before I can make a guess. Jake says, "Do you still own any VHSs?" No, I don't. It would be nice to own at least one, but I don't. Kevin says, "Is Thor 4 a disgrace to Endgame?" I'd say it pretty much is. But it's a disgrace even to the first Thor movie, even to Thor 2, so yeah, it's a disgrace to everything. It's a disgrace to good taste. Jacob says, "Have you seen Beware the Batman?" I tried to watch an episode or two, couldn't sit through it, and then I stopped watching it. Spirit Hero, goodbye. Thank you very much for joining the stream. I appreciate it. Eric says, "Captain Eric, yeah, I was talking about the Michael Jackson biopic. I guess I'm the only one excited for it. I'm going to cry and be depressed." If you're the only one excited for it, that's nothing to be depressed about. Look forward to it. Go watch it. I mean, unless you're expecting a sequel, you shouldn't be disappointed if the movie doesn't do well. The fact that it's being made is great. Batman's Gamer says, I really enjoyed it too, but the bats in the intro sounded like chickens. Or you talk about the Batman cartoon animated series intro? Because I never thought they sounded like chickens. Batman's Gamer says, Batman Return of the Caped Crusader and Batman vs. Two-Face, voiced by Adam West. Thank God for him. Yeah, I remember. I saw the first one. The first one was really funny. Second one I thought was quite boring, to be honest. And if I'm rubbing my eyes, it's for two reasons. One, the eczema. And two, in 10 minutes, it's going to be 11 o'clock p.m. So that's why I'm rubbing my eyes. Hey Eric, before I leave, can you answer one question? Yeah, sure thing. Reviews, put your question up. I'm surprised you're still here because it was a while back I think you said you were going to leave. Jake says, or favourite if you want to be more positive. What's that? What's your least favourite thing to come out of Netflix, movie or show? My least favourite thing to come to come out of Netflix. Well, my most favourite thing was the Daredevil show. My least favourite. Right now, I'll say Avatar: The Last Airbender because that is something I really love in the animated series, and to see what they did to it with a live-action one, that's something that I'll definitely remember. Trevor Bistro says, Apes together strong. Yep, indeed. Trevor Bistro, thoughts on Dune Part 2? I still haven't seen it. I'm waiting for the 4K Blu-ray to come out. Then I'll be able to rent it or borrow it from a friend or something and then see that. Batman's Gamer says, I'm talking about the 2004 series. The Justice League Unlimited show couldn't even use any Batman villains. Barely any because of the Batman series. That's interesting because the Justice League show, it did have a lot of Batman's villains in it. It had Joker in there. It had a bunch of others as well. Remember when Joker shows up in the Justice League show? So there were a lot of the villains there. Big Bash says, have you made up superheroes? I made comic strips about them as a kid. I did make a made-up story, and it was called The Instigators. And it was about a character called Sneaky and Clever, where I was very, very little. And I think Clever got killed. They're both partners in crime. Clever got killed, and then the sequel, Sneaky, went on his own. Yeah, I was very young, clearly. It was my trilogy that I wrote when I was younger. And then I tried to draw some stuff like a Superman comic and things like that. So, yeah. Saeed says, I left and you are still going. Yeah, I'll leave in 9 minutes. So about 10 minutes. So we'll round out at the 2-hour point. Then I'll be leaving. So if there's any questions or any super chats you guys want to throw my way, you got 10 minutes to do so. And then I'm out of here. Matthew says, would you be interested in a Child's Play 2 reboot? Yeah, if they make if they continue a sequel with the reboot that we had before, yeah, I'll be up for seeing that. Saeed says, I don't know what to say, I'm just going to watch the stream. That's fine, that works too. Saeed says, what was your opinion on Boy Season 4 trailer? I thought you said you didn't know what to say. Something came to you very quickly. It looked good. I was really impressed with it. You could check out my Patreon if you want to know my full detailed thoughts on it and see my live reaction to it for the first time. Review says, my question is before I leave, what is your least favourite movie of all time? And before you say, can I guess? Yeah, sure thing, go guess. We'll see what you think. I think I've mentioned it before. I'm sure there are worse movies. But still, I didn't like it. Gwen says, leaving the stream. It's been fun. Well, thank you very much, Gwen, for popping down. I really appreciate it. Take care. Hopefully see you on the next stream. Big Bash says, Eric, will you do a three-way Deadpool versus video? We'll see. I don't know. Kong, King of the Hollow Earth says, you can do a versus battle between Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Godzilla x Kong, the New Empire. I want to hear your thoughts on it. I'm thinking of doing a mini versus video on Godzilla versus Kong and Godzilla x Kong, the New Empire. That's what I'm thinking of doing, so yeah, wait for that. I'm not giving any promises if I do it yet, but that's what I'm thinking of doing, and I've already written parts of the script. It'll be a shorter versus video, so we'll see. So far, so good, though. Jake says, if you had time travel, where would you go? I go to the future and watch Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2. That's what I would do. Parker CS2 says, when is next regular Eric video? My next video is going to be the Avatar The Last Airbender versus video with the animated show and the live action series on Netflix. It's going to be about a 30-minute video, 30 to 35 minutes, and damn, that'll be my first versus video since the Chicken Run versus video I did a couple months back. A few months back now, so yeah. Jason King says, what do you think about Avatar The Last Airbender live action getting greenlit for season 2 and 3? I'm not surprised. It's like they're desperate for some kind of big franchise, Netflix are. And yeah, it seems like they took advantage of the creators of the show, because they actually had creative differences with the creators, so the creators left the show. Could you imagine that? Sandman, you said poo-poo water right when I was drinking my water. Angela, what's worse, Warner Brothers or Disney, in your opinion? Well, right now, Disney is the worst. The G-Gamer says, for TV commissions, if someone commissioned you to do a reality TV show like a Survivor season, would you actually do it? If it had about 8 episodes in it, then yeah, I would. You got to go to the Patreon, look at the rules I put in place, and if it fits within those rules, then yes, I would. So, take a look at my Patreon and just, check it out, because I've made it very clear what constitutes, a commission. So, yeah, take a look and you'll see. And it supports me, supports the channel, helps me do this for a living, and yeah. So, Matthew says, what's your thoughts on Cobra Kai final season getting the Invincible treatment? What do you mean the Invincible treatment? Is it going to get split into 2 halves? Because that would be bloody stupid if it did. The Master of Gaming says, Eric, have you played Batman Arkham Collection on Nintendo Switch? No, and I never will. I've got my Steam Deck. I'll show you right here. It's my Steam Deck OLED. So I can play all the Arkham games on here. So I don't need and they play much better on the Steam Deck. They look better, they have much higher frame rates. Far better on the Steam Deck. Better speakers on the Steam Deck too. So yeah, I can play them all on there, and I have played them all on there like several times. Kevin says, did you hear that there's a Kingdom Hearts film coming out? No, I didn't. Kindanotosh, I think, says, hot take, but not watching Superman 2025. Fair enough. Jacob says, Alita Battle Angel is awesome. Yes, it is. Jason King says, can you give your general thoughts on live-action Avatar The Last Airbender? I think I already kind of did with one of the previous questions, but no, I don't want to give anything more, because I spent so much time through literal sickness and COVID and eczema and the flu, and even through a funeral to write and record and edit that video. I don't want to give anything away at this point, so yeah, just have to wait for it to come out. And you'll get it early if you go to Patreon and get the early access perk. You'll get to see it early when I release it. Matthew says it's getting split into 3 parts, the last part coming out in 2025. What are they playing at with these stupid release schedules? The Logman says, "Hi Eric, I rewatched Star Wars Episode 1 for its 25th anniversary. Not in the theatre, but on DVD. Good movie." That's a great way of doing it. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, by the way. Big Bash says, "Would you ever consider doing collaborations, like, for example, a video with a critical drinker?" Well, that's not something I can arrange on my own. If enough people ask for that, then maybe it could happen. But you got to go to the person that you want me to collaborate with. Then that person could say, "Hey, people want us to collaborate. Do you want to collaborate?" Then it can potentially happen. But it can't just happen on its, just like that. Pop Culture Debate says, "I'm making an edit between you and Organized Chaos." I don't know what that means. Is Organized Chaos a YouTube channel? Jacob, I am doing better, thank you. Zelda fan says, "Do you like Demon Slayer?" Love Demon Slayer. I'm waiting for that next season. Jake says, "What's a TV show you find overrated?" That's a good question. Let me think. I don't know, really, because I don't watch TV shows unless I like them. But which one's overrated? Oh, there's many TV shows I can point to that are overrated. I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is overrated. I didn't like that show, and that was the one I was looking the most forward to. Matthew says, "Honestly, Stranger Things is pretty overrated." Well, I'd say Stranger Things Season 4 was overrated. I thought that was a crap season, but a lot of people liked it. Said it's even better than the first season, which are like the best season of all of them. And I did not see that. That season pretty much had me just bored, and I was like, yeah, I'm not interested in this anymore. It felt like that's how bad Season 4 was to me. Who is Willie Scott movie fan? Let's see. Oh, you mean from Indiana Jones 2? I'd say Willie. Jar Jar in his own silly way can actually be useful. Jake says Season 4 felt too teenage angst for me. Yeah, and it was overly long. The whole D&D subplot with those bullies. When their friend died, it should have ended. But the fact that it kept on going, I thought was bloody pathetic. Like, I got so tired of that. A bunch of wasted characters, like that high pizza guy. He was pathetic, so annoying. I don't even know why they put him there. What was his name? Will. He was just crying throughout this whole entire show, and he was pissing me off. Like, at first I was going easy on him, but then he just kept on doing it, and he turned into a bloody girl. I hope they're not setting up a romance between him and Mike. That would be bloody stupid if they were. I thought it was just so poorly done. Such an embarrassment, I thought that was. My family never liked Will, but I was always giving him, saying, no, I don't mind him. I think he's pretty good. But this is the season where I was like, yeah, you guys didn't like him. I can't argue with it here. I don't like him anymore either. Pop Culture Debate says, Organized Chaos is a YouTube channel that covers film reviews and makes versus videos and also reacts to your videos. Years ago. What? He actually reacted to my videos. Was Organized Chaos a subscriber? I'm starting to realize this name does seem more familiar. Yeah, Organized Chaos was subscribed to me, I think. What'd you say? Reacted to my videos? Wow, I was never even aware of this. Holy moly. That's... looks like just 2 of my videos he's reacted to. Interesting. Okay, I'll give it a look. I didn't even know people were reacting to my videos. He goes, you requested it, and now you got it. Were people requesting him to react to my videos? That's interesting. Oh, look at that. We're over time. 2 minutes over time. Alright, guys, I'm going to give you 1 more minute to just give any more questions that you have. Any more questions, any more super chats, whatever it is. 1 more minute. Because I was supposed to tell you we've got this much time left, but I forgot to do it. I was having so much fun chatting with you guys that I completely forgot to do it. I've not played Red Dead 2, Jess, so I can't comment on that. Angela, no, I've not seen X-Men 97. Eric, if you see or not seeing X-Men 97, if you have seen the show lately, what would you thoughts? I have not seen it. Sorry, buddy. I'm watching The Bad Batch. I'd rather have a conversation with Rose, Matthew. Eric, are you going to watch X-Men 97? No, I'm not going to. Too much stuff to watch. I can't focus on watching that kind of stuff, you know, all the time. Plus, I'm not a fan of the animation in it either. Daredevil is overrated like Taylor Swift season 2 and 3. I don't know how to respond to that because I don't watch Taylor Swift. Big Bash says, what is the best piece of advice you can give about life? Life is a test. I don't agree with the idea of life is short. You know, enjoy yourself. I always feel like life is a test. We all have our own. Have I been to Tunisia, says Saeed? No, I haven't. Thoughts on Avatar The Last Airbender, says MP 2003. I love the animated series. It's my favourite show of all time. Live action show on Netflix. Stay tuned for my Versus video coming up, and you'll know my thoughts on that. Saeed, I said I've not been to Tunisia. Jess says, Eric, Daphne Keane does better than the disgraced Star Wars show. Yes, she does, and they've not even shown her in the trailer, which is bizarre. Eric, what's the reason you would recommend Star Wars The Bad Batch? If you love the Clone Wars, and if you like the Bad Batch in the Clone Wars when they debuted, and you want to see more of that kind of storytelling, watch The Bad Batch. That's what I would say. Alright, guys, looks like that's about it. I had absolutely wonderful time. What quote, Matthew? What quote do you want to use that I just said? Let me just wait for Matthew's quote, for Matthew's comment. No, I've not gotten to the finale yet, movie fan. I've only watched like 5 episodes because I was waiting for them all to come out, and then I thought I'll binge them at my own leisure. So I'm about 5 episodes through so far. Oh, life is a test. Yeah, by all means, if you want to. Yeah, go ahead. Alright. Alright then. Had a wonderful time chatting with all of you. Really I did. I really do love all of you guys, and I thought it was going to be a bit tricky to get back onto the live stream because having not done it for about a week, I was almost thinking of not doing it this time because I didn't quite feel up to it, but you guys made it so nice, so easy, and the super chats were so helpful. Like, you guys have no idea how helpful those are, and yeah, I am so lucky to have the best viewers of any YouTuber out there, so thank you very, very much. I really appreciate each and every single one of you, and I hope you really enjoy my upcoming Versus video of Avatar The Last Airbender when it comes out. I've worked so hard on it, and I've been working on it through sickness and through loss as well, so yeah, that's a video I hope you guys will really enjoy, really share, and put out there so everyone can watch it. And well, thank you very, very much, everyone, and I'll see all of you very soon. Take care. That was a mistake. There you go. Take care.